Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. Now, I'm gonna list off some games here, just the names of a few random games. And I want you to tell me if you notice anything familiar about each of these games. Alright, here we go. Warframe, Destiny, Dying Light, Evolve, Warhammer End Times Vermintide, Payday 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Helldivers, The Division, Borderlands. I could keep going, but I think that's a healthy amount of games to talk about and pick from. Now, with all those titles I mentioned, do you notice something similar about all of them? Now, don't get me wrong, these are very different games with very different styles of gameplay and worlds and stories and all that jazz. They are still different games, but they all share something. Almost this combined genre. They're almost all in the same genre in terms of game style, features, and content. Now, a lot of you are going, what the hell do you mean by this, Gamertron? I mean, all of these games are consistent content RNG-based games. And that's something I want to talk to you all about. This new, almost meta game genre that has spun off from MMOs. What kept people playing MMOs for such extended periods of time is that they had not only a large amount of content already in the game, and not only were they consistently updated with new content, but MMOs also always almost included some form of RNG system, random number generated system, in terms of receiving rewards and certain pieces of content. And that is something all these previous games I mentioned have in common. They're, in a sense, like a game within a game within a game. I mean, let's look at a game like Warframe. What are the goals of the game? To obtain new items, new characters, new weapons, to level up, and get loot. What about Destiny? Acquire new weapons, new armor, level up, and get loot. Borderlands, get new weapons, new armor, new loot, and level up. And I think you're seeing a trend here. Free-to-play and AAA games are emulating what MMOs have been doing for years, giving the player multiple, lengthy, and rewarding goals. A constant sense of progression. Now, progression in games has always been. It's always been there in games. You play a first-person shooter campaign, the further you get down the campaign, you're going to get cooler guns. In an RPG, the more quests you complete, you level up, you unlock all the cool abilities, etc., etc. But a lot of games nowadays are taking it one step further, like how MMOs did it, where you can just keep going and going and going, and there isn't always necessarily a max level, and even if you hit max level, you can still keep going. There is always something to strive for, something to unlock, something to gain, which leads me into consistent content, and in more ways than one. Now, when you think consistent content, you think new stuff is added on a regular basis, which with most of these games, that is the case. Rainbow Six Siege is going to continuously get new operators and new maps consistently over the next many months. Borderlands 2, when it first came out, and years after its release, got consistently new content, new DLC, new locations and enemies and weapons and all this other jazz. With Warframe, well, you know it's Warframe. The son of a bitch game never stops updating, never stops getting new stuff. Then we have a game like Destiny that has its huge expansions and little chunks of content added in sometime after the expansions, such as racing, special multiplayer modes, special one-time only events, that sort of deal. And more video game publishers and developers are realizing if we keep adding to the game, even after launch, it adds more value to the game and it makes people want to play the game more, longer, makes new people want to buy the game when they hear, oh, there's new stuff in this? That was added for free? Or I only have to pay a couple more bucks for? That sort of content adds more depth, variety, and expanse to the game. However, there is another form of consistent content within all these games previously mentioned. And when I say this other form of consistent content, I mean making you constantly replay the content that is already there. Another aspect about MMOs that all these other games have taken a fancy to. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't consider this a bad thing. I consider this a really good thing. I don't mind grinding in games as long as there's significant reward to it, but I understand there are those of you who like consistent and constant new experiences. You're not into replaying old content you've already played before and grinding through games. I get there are those people that don't like that just want constantly new stuff, and you are who you are and you like what you like. And me, I love replaying stuff. I love being given a reason to replay stuff more than just to relive an awesome moment. For instance, in the Call of Duty single-player campaigns, there isn't too much reason to replay the older Call of Duty campaigns. I mean, you can only engage in the same combat scenarios in so many ways with the same guns you're given. Which is why I really appreciate in the latest Call of Duty Black Ops 3, it is given sort of this consistent content feel, where the more you play the single-player campaign, you level up your character and unlock new weapons. I really like that. Not only did it make me want to replay the campaign, but it gave me new ways and fresh ways to replay missions with new weapons that I unlocked. Again, I understand the dislike of grinding and replaying the same stuff you already played, but there is a charm to it, in appreciating the work that's already there and seeing stuff you may have missed the first time you played. But it is very nice and almost essential nowadays to give people more of a reason to replay, to have a significant reward for replaying stuff that's already there. I mean, look at a game like Left 4 Dead and then a game like Warhammer End Times Vermintide. While I adore Left 4 Dead, you could only replay it so much before you realized, okay, I've played all the maps multiple times, there's really not much else for me to do. However, with Vermintide and its RNG loot system, I find myself replaying the same missions on the same maps over and over again, more so than I ever did in Left 4 Dead, because there's that reward at the end of the tunnel. And you get better rewards for playing on the higher difficulties. With Left 4 Dead, the only reward for beating the game on the higher difficulty was, well, nothing. Maybe some achievements? Bragging rights? With Vermintide, playing on the harder difficulties meant you would get a better reward, at least a chance at a better reward. It has me replaying the game on a variety of difficulties over and over again, and trying out a variety of strategies to have fun, to be effective, and get that damn loot. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about if you've played an MMO or you've played any of the games that was previously mentioned. And this will smoothly bring us into RNG in general. Look, RNG can be a major pain in the ass sometimes, and there are some games with RNG systems that need serious improvement. Warframe, Destiny, I'm looking at you. However, you cannot deny that the use of RNG, the use of this almost slot machine-like reward system, keeps you invested in the game. It keeps you playing, keeps making you feel like you got your money's worth. Now, I understand how this can be interpreted as both a good thing and a bad thing. Of course, there's the party of, this gives you more reason to play the game, but then there's the other party of, this RNG system is an excuse for them not to make more content. And I can understand the latter party, I can understand that, but I can't entirely get behind that when we have other individuals that play games like Skyrim and Fallout, and after a week of playing the game say there's nothing for them to do. Honestly, you can't satisfy all parties, and I think developers have a right to give players a reason to keep playing their games. Going back to Warhammer Vermintide, Vermintide was created by an indie developer. They don't have all the money and resources in the world to create consistent content like new levels, new maps and game modes, but they want people to keep playing their game even after they've played all the levels and maps. So what do? Add an RNG system that keeps people playing the game, discovering new things about the game that they may have missed if they only played it once and had no intention of replaying. You get what I'm saying. But don't get me wrong, there are BS moments with RNG. I do think any game with an RNG system needs the right amount of balancing. Where if you fail an objective miserably, then you get nothing. I can understand that. However, if you put in the time and effort, you should almost always be guaranteed some sort of significant reward. I can't imagine how infuriating it must be in Destiny to work your ass off in a difficult raid or strike, and after the mission, you get jack shit, or even worse, get something that you already have. And almost the same thing can apply with Warframe. If I'm doing a high-level tower mission like Tower 3 or 4, I should be guaranteed some of the rare items and parts and loot, not the basic stuff that I can get in any other mission. I'm sure you guys have an idea of what I'm talking about, so RNG systems can have their negatives. However, if done properly and balanced right, as stated earlier, they can add more value and replayability to the game and make you almost appreciate the game a bit more in a sense. And so, those are consistent content RNG video games. Now, I know this kind of meta subgenre is not for everybody. I know there are people that don't like Warframe, Destiny, Borderlands, or any type of game with any sort of grinding or having you replay content. But I have to admit, there's a special place in my heart for these games. These games that, even after release, still get new stuff for their players to play. That get multiple free updates and new DLC, and I know not everybody likes DLC, but hey, new content is new content, even if you have to pay for it. There's always sales and special offers. You don't need to get anything at full price if you don't want to. But it's nice to know, in a sense, that even after you buy a game, it's not done yet. Even after you buy and play the game, there's going to be more to it. And if it's a game that you like, it's a great feeling, a simply great feeling that a game you like is just getting more stuff for you to play with. It's an invigorating feel. It's how I felt with Evolve, with new characters getting released and new maps and game modes getting released over the course of its release. I got that same feeling with Payday 2 and Borderlands 2. That kept getting new stuff to play. More reason to keep playing a game that I enjoyed. I understand that consistent content RNG video games aren't for everyone, and I know a lot of people aren't liking their sort of takeover. A lot of people are kind of turned off by The Division because it's gonna be a consistent content RNG video game, The Division. But I'm personally looking forward to the game specifically for that. And while not everybody may like this meta subgenre, it's a genre that's staying and not going anywhere anytime soon. Cause one thing you gotta admit, it's got people hooked. And I'm one of them. Anyways, this has been a video. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video in any way, shape, or form, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved with the video. If you hit the like button, please leave a comment. What are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on all the video games mentioned in this video? What do you think of the subject of this video? Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section below. I love reading comments, so get near enough comments. Please leave a comment. And finally, I'm the Gamertron. I love video games. I love talking about video games. If there's something that interests you, maybe consider supporting my channel by subscribing to me. Anyways, guys, this has been a video, and I will see you guys later.